We are a quarter of the way through the season already. How do you assess where we are after the opening 6 rounds?
We're probably a game behind, victory behind where we would probably be comfortable. Obviously, I'd love to be sitting here saying we won every game and everything's looking great and we're performing brilliantly, but we're not. That's not the case. But I think if we'd have won at the weekend, we'd have been sitting here thinking we're about on par for where we needed to be for the season to build. And by losing, we probably dropped about a game behind where we'd ideally like to be after 6 games. So it's not the end of the world. It's not as great as it could be, but we've certainly got some things to work on.
Yeah, so if we look back to the weekend just gone, tough performance in front of a home crowd. How do you assess the game now you've had a couple of days since the final was?
I think you've kind of nailed it on the head there, really. It's probably the most frustrating thing, disappointing thing is probably the performance levels, as you say, in front of another very good home crowd. It does feel a little bit like we've missed another opportunity just to get the crowd going, get some real feeling going in Sandy Park, because we started so slowly that we never really gave the crowd that much opportunity to really get behind us and really get an atmosphere going. And that's a little frustrating. But at the same time, we had an incredible attitude the week before. We had to fight through some real adversity. We did that really well. Got a very, very valuable 5 points away from home. And so that's why it's probably a little bit more frustrating. We feel like we've slipped off a little bit. That said, I thought London Irish did the fundamentals of their game very well, and that's where they beat us, really. Their individual ball carriers crossed the game line way easier than we did. They won quicker ball. We probably struggled to stop their momentum defensively. We did purely just mentally switch off a few times, which caused us some issues. And there are a few things there's a few things we've been able to show the lads this week in training that if it wasn't so disappointing we lost a game of rugby, you would almost laugh about. And it's actually, I'm hoping it's just made a few of them just stop and open their eyes and just go, right, we've had some switch offs here. We need to address this. We need to talk about it. We need to move on. But that's very much what I feel like. I don't feel like we're in a crisis because we've lost 1 game after winning 3. There are lots of rugby clubs for years and years and years. We've been towards the top end of the Premiership, and teams would love to go 3-1 and then 3-1 and 3-1. So that's not the drama for me. But the drama is a little bit more the performance. But we've got a few days to put that right, and that's what's great about sport.
Let's park that. Let's move forward. A few boys going into England camp now. That inevitably opens up opportunities for others to take their place. How do you assess the squad going into this Friday's game?
Yeah, well, as has been the case this season, we are a little patchy in a couple of areas, just because of if your international players are in one position, back 5 of the scrum, and then your injuries in that position, it does get a little bit like that. But then we've got some good and experienced players and some good young players to fill those slots. And as you say, it's experience. And I don't think it's this weekend's about experience. I really don't. I don't think it's about experience. I think it's about guys getting out there and running around and performing like an Exeter Chiefs team. That's very much the message they're going to get this week. I don't really care who's on the field. They're an Exeter Chiefs player and they know how to play. And they've just got to go out there and show it means a lot to them. And if we do that, we'll have taken a step forward, and that's all you can ask every week is take a step forward.
Yeah, brilliant. Gloucester on Friday. They're an improved team this season. They've perhaps gone back to some basics. How do you assess their performances so far? What are you expecting from them on Friday night?
Well, the one thing I'm expecting is if we don't want to maul, if we don't want to defend mauls, and we don't want to be tough up front, it's going to be a long old day, because they're getting some momentum from their pack. And they're finishing that momentum off with scores. They have got some dangerous backs who are pulling some fantastic things out for them. But on the whole, they look a very solid 15 who can work up the field from set piece to set piece and really challenge you in that area. So unless we pin that down straight away, it's going to be a tough old evening. So it's going to be a very interesting challenge for us.